Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1:02 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. Sorry for being late. Here's the thing. It's one of those ridiculous seasons for being late today, guys, and I apologize. I was here like 5 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, I got plenty of time. I opened up my phone, and next thing I know, I'm late. So my apologies to you guys. I'll do better. But I'm here now, and I'm hoping everyone on the podcast, on the audio-only version, is doing well, having a good run out there, or having a good commute home. I had a fantastic run out there today. Went out to Backbone State Park and got to run around through the trails. I only got lost like one and kind of 1.5 times. I was technically off course based on what my watch was saying, but I was like in the middle of like not a field, but like a wood. And there was no trail. And so I was just like off by like a couple hundred feet, maybe a couple hundred meters. But I ended up in the right spot. So that's kind of I'm going to count that as I half lost. But otherwise, I had a pretty good run today. Hopefully, you guys have a good run and staying warm because today was a cold one. And everyone listening on watching on YouTube after the fact, welcome to you guys too. Hopefully, having a great day and relaxing. You're at the end of the day. Maybe you're wrapping some presents because it's that time of year. And hopefully, if you are, you're doing it with a nice recovery beverage. I've got some afternoon coffee. Very happy about it today. Really enjoying the afternoon coffee. I've been really pushing the afternoon coffee into evening coffee these days, which is not a great thing to do, but it's kind of, it's the holidays. The kids are staying up later because they're on break. And so I need to be a little bit more functional, I guess, later in the evening than usual. So this won't be my last coffee today, I gotta say. All right, let's see who we got here in the chat. There's my mouse. All right, let's scroll up to the top. That kid Caleb is here. What's going on? Good to see you again. And Affluent Journey says, so the kid that won my 50K, Affluent Journey's ran a 50K over the weekend. He said, the kid that won the 50K has a 102 half marathon. That's incredible. So he's like a pro. That's like pro level 62 half marathon. That's pretty good. That's really good. But he said that the kid, you have to remind me his name. The kid said it was his first trail race that he won, and he won by 17 minutes. Crazy. And it was his first ultra. That's incredible. All right. That kid Caleb said he put 100 miles of the New Balance Fuel Cell Prisms. That's a shoe I haven't tried before, but I hear good things. So hopefully you're liking it. Time Matt says, hey, everyone, hope all is well. And Frank says, oh, when they found the guy who went missing in that Florida 100 miler named Earl Blewett, such an appropriate name, he was so delirious that he thought he was in his hotel room. What? That is crazy. That's having a bonk of a day, right? Oh man, that's an incredible story. Hopefully he's okay. But Frank says the course was a 3.47 mile looped course. A lot can happen in 3.47 miles, and I guess it depends on what part of Florida he's in, but wow. Awesome. Alan Shrimpton says, good day, all. What's going on, Alan? Good to see you again. And Chris likes his first live stream on the treadmill. Let's see how this goes. I have a feeling that it would work well. Just kind of like it's, what some of the things that one of the things I've always wanted for this podcast was it to feel either like a conversation like after you've gone on a group run, or maybe a conversation you might hear while you're on a group run. So I'm really hoping that like listening to the podcast or watching it live, the live stream live on YouTube becomes like a thing, a way that people can enjoy the live stream. So I'm not saying like everyone should do that, but if it becomes a bigger thing, I think that would be pretty cool. You'll have to let us know how it goes, Chris, by the end. All right. I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I'm way behind you guys. All right. Jackie says, hey, Mike, did you miss your long hair? I do, because also you guys know I'm a strangely big Keanu Reeves fan, and like all the Matrix Resurrections trailers are coming out, and I'm like, my hair could have been that long. Not that I would end up looking like Keanu Reeves, but I was like, that's kind of the length that I was hoping for when I got it cut, but the guy cut it like way shorter. So I've got this stuff. It's growing back fine. So it's just hair. And in the wintertime, I'm pretty much always wearing a hat. So it's not a huge deal, but I do miss it. I do miss it. All right. Let's see. Dr. Josh is here, says, what up, co-fam? What's going on, Dr. Josh? How are you? Hopefully you're recovering well from the race. And Running and Pizza says, what's the difference between the Gel Nimbus and the Gel Nimbus Lite besides weight? So the difference is the foams. And so the Gel Nimbus is the traditional legacy. I think they call them their legend max cushion shoe. And so it's going to have a lot of gel, has gel in the heel, visible gel in the heel, and then another little donut ring of gel right underneath, like kind of like the pad of the big toe in the forefoot. And then there's also a little bit of a stabilizer plate in there as well to help with some of the torsion that might happen in the bending. And it was a different foam previously. This year that changes, but let's go with this current year's. And then the gel Nimbus Lite uses flight foam. And not flight foam blast, but I think last year it used flight foam. And there was, I think there was still gel, but it wasn't visible. I'm not sure if it was in the heel and in the forefoot or if it was just in the forefoot. But there's a lot less gel. So they're moving towards a lighter weight because the gel is very dense and heavy. So that's part of what makes it light, but also a different foam that helps make it light too. And then a lot of like the armor and structure, like the plate, for example, and all the stuff that might be in the heel to keep everything kind of locked down and control. They're trying to exert that kind of control with the way that they're shaping and kind of formulating the midsole. And with that shaping, they're able to kind of control how different parts of the midsole foam compress. And so at least that's my understanding. So that would be the main difference between it. I also think that the Gel Nimbus Lite is a way for them to kind of play with some newer materials, some newer styles, and kind of help drive like the Nimbus faithful, the people that have been buying it for like a decade, into like, all right, maybe I see the Nimbus Lite, I see some other ideas, I'm becoming familiar with that, it's okay, and kind of trying to move the design language a little bit forward. So I think that's kind of like where a lot of these like kind of like offshoot shoes, when you've got like a shoe then becomes a franchise and there's a bunch of shoes with that name, that sometimes they're either a different use case, sometimes it's different aesthetics and kind of helping to move the original. So there's could be a lot of reasons why you would have differences, but that is the difference between the Gel Nimbus and the Gel Nimbus Lite. In 2022, the Gel Nimbus is going to, I've run in the Gel Nimbus already. The number 24. I've never run in a Gel Nimbus before, but running in this one, I really like it. It's using FF Blast Plus or Flight Foam Blast Plus, which is the lightest and springiest version of flight foam that they've made yet. So it's really nice, but there's still a lot of gel in it. There's still a plate in it, or like the plastic shank and like from the midfoot back. So you're still getting a lot of like the kind of the control elements that the Nimbus has been known for, but you're getting it in a very modernized package. And I gotta say, I really like it. It feels like you're getting like, I mean, it's definitely pushing the boundaries of what max cushion is. And it's very comfortable, but it runs like a daily trainer. It feels like a daily trainer underfoot. So, I mean, in terms of like the running mechanics, but you're getting a lot of impact protection underneath. So, yeah. Affluent Journey says that 62-minute half marathon is Ryan Raff. I never bring a pencil. I even got a paper today, but I don't have a pencil. I have to try to. I want to look that guy up. Awesome. Richard Smart is coming in from Harker Heights, Texas. Hopefully, I mean, is it pool weather still in January in Harker Heights? I don't know. Seatown Fan says, "Are you running much in Iowa?" Yeah, I've been running a lot. So, big news. I was running a lot and running all my trail runs like somewhat moderately, and then on the downhills running very hard or trying to run hard on the downhills. As a way to kind of prepare for the mile race that I was going to be running on New Year's Eve at the Tracks with Midnight Mile Gala. So I was doing that, but I found out yesterday. I actually got the email before yesterday's live stream, but I looked at the email later, and that Tracksmith event is canceled. So I won't be doing that event anymore, which is a bummer. I think it would have been really cool to be able to see another mile heat with not only Nick Willis trying to go for his 20th sub 4 mile or 20th year of sub 4 miles, but to see him getting paced by Hobbs Kessler and Mason Furlick, I just feel like that's a pretty cool lineup to watch. And the seeing there was a high school girls showdown that was going to happen. I think that was going to be I think that would have probably been the most exciting race of the evening. So like, that's a bummer. That's not going to happen, but for, COVID reasons, they had to cancel it, just like pretty much everything in New York is getting canceled. My wife and I keep talking about like what's going to happen with the New Year's Eve celebration in Times Square. I have a hard time imagining it's going to happen, but we'll see what ends up happening. But so now, I mean, my plans for the next week have kind of changed, but I'll still just be running in the trails or in the dirt roads here in Iowa, taking advantage of the different kind of like terrain that I have available to me here. And I've been really loving it. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to go on a dog run. There's a route that I like to run. It's nice and rolling, beautiful views. And I do happen to run by a couple of farms where the dogs tend to chase me and follow me around. So I wouldn't mind having a running buddy. I always try to get them to stay, but that one, I think the dog's name is Daisy, always follows along no matter what. So yeah, I love running back here. The running's really good here. And so, sorry. I just shook the camera. But the running's really good here, and I've been really enjoying the running. It's cold though. It was 12 degrees today. Like, my face was frozen by the end of my run. It was really cold. All right. Dr. Josh says his heart rate strap finally died after 4 years. That's crazy. That's a long time to have a heart strap. I usually lose stuff. But I'm trying to think. My first chest strap was a Cintos chest strap. I still have that one, and it still works. But I don't use it every day. I use a variety of different ones, but I think that one still works. I don't think that's 4 years old, though. I think it's probably 2.5 years. So I think I got maybe a couple more years with it. All right. And Kurt says, yeah, looks like I won't be meeting me at the Midnight Mile Gala. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. That would have been really fun to get together, Kurt. I did see there was like the email, I got an email from, the people that I was talking to kind of coordinate me attending the event, but also then like Nick Willis sent out an email to everybody that had signed up for it. It was kind of like, it's a bummer. That's not going to happen. And, I have lots of other information too, about like what happens with the money, if you can ask for a refund, that kind of thing. But I looked at the Tracksmith, Midnight Mile Gala website, and it said that he's still going to be making the attempt on January 1st, just in a private setting. And I'm like, oh man, who's going to get to photograph that? I know Tracksmith is always really good with photographers, so I don't think it's not going to be photographed. So, but no one asked me to photograph it, so it's not going to be me. But I'm also just really bummed that the entire event is not going to be able to happen. But it makes sense. We've been telling our kids all the time, like, hey, we're going to make all these plans. We're going to probably start doing some more stuff. And they're really excited. But we have to be very understanding and patient if sometimes plans change. So I gotta take my own advice or like listen to my own rules, I guess. And I have to have a good attitude about it. Well, it's okay to be disappointed, I think. But, well, we'll move on. Shannon says, hey, GoFamzy, working from home, aka YouTube and chill. Nice. I love it. Good to see you, Shannon. Scott says, as some running will happen indoors, what do you look for when running on the treadmill? I just look for it. I mean, I usually just do a lot of easy runs on the treadmill. Some people like to do workouts on the treadmill. And then if you are going to do a workout, I mean, some of the things that are important is what does it max out at? And so like, not that I'm like, I can max out the treadmill, but some of the cheaper treadmills don't really go that fast. And so like, if you did want to work out like and do like, 800 meter repeats on a treadmill and it doesn't go fast enough for you, that could be a problem. And then the other thing is noisiness. If there's really noisy, then that's kind of like an issue for me. Because if I were to, I don't have a treadmill, but if I were to buy one, like it depends on where you were going to put it. But just got really noisy one gets obnoxious really fast. All right. Stevie76 says, first run of the Hoka Mach 4 went well. Concerned about buying another Hoka when the Rincon 2 didn't work out. Mach 4 is a keeper. All right. Well, I'm glad that worked out for you, Stevie. Yeah, I mean, I think that the Mach 4 fits very differently than the Rincon 2. And I even think for the Rincon 3, a lot of the durability issues that people had with it should be resolved with the way that they reconfigured the outsole slightly. I don't remember what your issue was with the Rincon 2, Stevie, if that was it or what, but I'm glad you're liking the Mach 4. I'm a big fan. I really like that one. And then I've been seeing like other people are starting to get the Mach 4 Supersonic. Like Ryan Clayton has it. And I'm like, Hoka didn't send me those things yet. But I guess they gave me the Carbon X3 early and the spikes. I was gonna wear the spikes at that Midnight Mile Gala just to be a little bit extra and over the top. But I guess I'll have to find another event to use those spikes. All right. Sorry, I'm going to scroll down. If you guys have a question, I apologize, but I missed it. And I'm going to try to stay a little bit more current with you guys. If you want to copy paste that question again, I'll make sure to get it. Stephanie says, have you ever run in the Indiana Dunes State Park trails? Not too far outside Chicago. I've never done that, Stephanie. Is that something I should do? I know it's not that far, and I have a car now, so I could totally do that kind of thing. So, maybe I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out. The only thing that I ever hear about like dunes is that like that kids sometimes fall in them, and like sometimes there might be like pockets in there. So I'm guessing like, I mean, you shouldn't run on dunes because I think a lot of those are protected habitats, but I'm guessing the Dune State Park is not just 100% dunes. So I wonder if there's I don't know if I'm gonna have to check that out. I'll definitely check it out. Let's see. We got Scott says, following up on the treadmill question, do you have a favorite treadmill shoe? For treadmill, I usually like shoes that are very low stack height. So the shoes that I would look for are shoes like the Rebel 2, the Puma Liberate Nitro. It's a low stack height one. Shoes like that I think are good because the treadmill itself is a little bit bouncy. So you don't really need as thick of a stack height shoe. I usually like to go a little bit more minimal. Does that make sense? My favorite treadmill shoe ever was probably the Zonte Pursuit. I don't know if you guys remember that shoe. That's the shoe that became the New Balance Tempo. But it was very different than the Zonte Pursuit. Zonte used to be a shoe that there were like 4 or 5 different kinds of Zontes in the New Balance line. That's when New Balance line was super confusing, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. They've since kind of cleared a lot of things up. But I do like shoes that are like very comfortable uppers, like a knit upper, and then low stack height is kind of what I like for the treadmill. Although, I mean, pretty much any shoe should work well for the treadmill. All right. Luke Klein says he got a short story. Misjudged the height of a curb and hit the deck. Oh boy, Lou. Hope you're doing okay. That kid Caleb says, when is merch available? There's only a coffee mug. Yeah, I haven't been really liking Teespring. So the merch that I do have available, one is on Path Projects. So if you go to pathprojects.com, I think it's /Kofuzi, or if you just look at pathprojects.com, there's the non-elite shirt that we did a collab shirt there. So that is the one that I would kind of recommend to everybody. I think there's still some left. I don't think that you'd be able to get it in time for Christmas, but it's something that's still available. Also, if you're interested, there's a Billy Yang hat that looks really fantastic. It has topo maps. Trail runners love topography designs. And non-trail runners like myself, I like it too. It's really beautiful. That's one that also just came out, so you might be interested in that too. So those are 2 things I would look at. And I have to look at Teespring again. Now they have like a tech shirt that you can do, but it's really expensive. And I'm like, I don't know. I never really loved Teespring, and I'm liking it less and less. So I'm looking for other ways to do merch better. But thank you for asking, Caleb. All right, Zeth Paterko says just signed up for the UG Marathon. That's super cool. I think that's going to be a good race. I think it's probably my guess. Not that I keep super close tabs on it, but my guess for probably best race kind of swag, I have a feeling it's going to be the Eugene Marathon. It was last year, even though it was virtual. I mean, they gave you pieces of Hayward Field as your medal for finishing the virtual event. It's one medal that I won't be like throwing away. And so then this year, they're going to be doing work with Greg Itahara. He's going to be designing some of their runner swag. So, it's going to be good. So I'm already booked for another marathon on that same day. Otherwise, I'd be out there too running it with you. But I think that one's going to be a really fun one. All right. Big L Medina says, yo, what's up, Kofuzi? I'll be in Chicago next summer. How often do you train with your running club? The Kofuzi Run Club actually never meets in Chicago except at the Chicago Marathon. It's a very informal thing. It's basically whoever shows up on the day that we decide to meet. Yeah, I've been thinking about maybe we need to change that. Maybe have a run like a couple times a season, like maybe once a month or something, just to get people together, the locals. But I see all the locals at all the other local events though, and on the so I'm like, I don't know, maybe I need to do that. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit more. Sorry, guys. Matt says he loves cottonbureau.com for merch. I've seen, I do like Matt's shirt. It's really comfy. And as I would expect, Matt's merch is beautiful. And I've seen a lot of people using Cotton Bureau, so maybe I need to do that. And Dr. Josh says, I'm looking into Bonfire. So Bonfire and Cotton Bureau. Gotta look at those. All right. Thanks for the tips, guys. And Dario Vincent says, shout out to the non-elite. Hey, what's going on, Dario? Says, shout out to the non-elite shirt. I got 2 of them on a permanent rotation. Well, thanks so much. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Sargon McKinney says, Fresh From More version 3 or Invincible for a Steezy shoe, which is a favorite. I think if I were picking up the pace a little bit, then I might go with the Invincible. If I'm saying like if you had both, but I don't know that I would buy either of those for that use case. But if I already had them and I was like, you know what, I want to pick up the pace a little bit, not quite do a tempo run, not quite do, definitely not doing a threshold run, but a little bit harder than easy. I think the Invincible picks up just a little bit better. All right, my mom's here. Hi, Mom. How are you? Good to see you. All right, Affluent Journey says, should I get the Vaporfly 2 for $225 or the Adios Pro 2 for $220? I would check. There was a Vaporfly 2 colorway that was on sale for like under $150. It's probably sold out by now, but it was like a light blue color, and that one was super cheap. So I would go check all the colors and see which one there is. But Adios Pro 2 for $220. I mean, if you can find an Adios Pro 2, I feel like they always sell out. I would prefer that one. But if you run in Vaporflies before, like the next percents, and you like them, then I think that's where your preferences are going to be. But for me, I'd probably pick up the Adios Pro 2. I really like that shoe. So yeah, so there's some people that are like Ty Matt that live in the swoosh life. That's an easy choice, but I would check if price is a consideration. I would check to see if you find some of the different, like click on all the colors and see if any of them are on sale. So, all right. Anthony Cardella says, hey, Kofuzi, I went to school at Drake University in Des Moines. Go Bulldogs. Awesome. That's where they got the blue track. He says, I know you travel to Iowa and he plans on running the Des Moines Marathon. I keep thinking about it because that'd be fun. I think there aren't that many marathons in Iowa, so I would love to run an Iowa marathon at some point. So maybe that's one of those things I'll have to check. I'll have to check the dates on that. See if that ever works. Let's see. Oh, Affluent Journey says the Adios Pro 2 is full stock on Running Warehouse. Oh wow, that's surprising. That's so surprising. Well, I guess that's good. Let's see. Is that Mrs. Adder or Mr. Satter? Or I'm not sure how to say that. But will a 215-pound runner break down a New Balance More version 3 prior to 300 miles? I'm not sure about that one. The Fresh Foam X that's in that shoe, I think, is a little bit more durable than EVA would be. So my hunch would be to say before 300, no, I don't think so. Will it feel different than a fresh shoe? Yeah. Will it feel like a 300-mile shoe? Probably. But will it break down before that? No, I don't think so. I think you'll be okay for 300 miles. Again, it's going to depend on the surfaces you run on, your other than just weight, the way that you're using the shoe, like the type of runs you're using it for, if you're using it for cross training, what your gait is like. So there's, your mileage may vary thing, but I think generally 300 miles, feel very comfortable for that. Zamboni 22397 says the Des Moines Marathon for 22 is after Chicago. So it says Zamboni is planning for the Des Moines Marathon for 2022. Since I didn't get into Chicago, the marathon is the weekend after. All right. Okay. I probably won't be able to do that one this year then. All right. Derek Scheit says, are any of the new 2022 marathon races going to be available for Boston in April? Seemed like a long shot from all the running event details. From what I could tell, I would say no. I would plan on you're going to be racing in the 2021 racers. So I think that like it really surprises me that Adidas doesn't release like I don't understand why the Boston isn't released in like January. And then like the Adios Pro 2 or like the Adios Pro 3 should be released like in late February, March, right? Because then you can train in it and get ready for Boston in it. But I get like probably the big push that they want to make is for fall marathon season. And so that's why I think that they get released in the summer. I also don't know if like this year, if it's different and unusual because of supply chain issues that like every release is getting pushed back to like July or like August. So yeah, I wouldn't count on it. So I would say like, get your ratio now. Cause I don't think anything new if you want, I mean, cause then you can work out in it, but I don't think anything new is going to really come out. With the exception, I know that Reebok is launching their kind of like trainer racer. I forget what the name of it is. Is it Float Ride? It's not Float Ride X. I can't remember what it is. But it's going to be, I think it's a half carbon plate. There's something, it's not a full carbon plate. There's something about it. And then it's Float Ride, the energy foam, but in a much thicker but bouncier version, from what I understand. So I'm looking forward to trying that one because I think it's going to come in at 160. So that'd be interesting. But other than that, I'm trying to think. I don't think of anything new coming. Let's see. Wanda 2225 says, can you easily find Vaporflies in the US? Here in Guatemala it is impossible. I don't know. I haven't actually gone shopping for a Vaporfly. I only know about the Vaporfly sale because of Ben Johnson on Instagram. He pointed it out. But I think it was Ben Johnson. I'm not sure. It might have been TFXC. It might have been. I think it was TFXC. One of those two Instagram accounts. But yeah, I think that they're pretty easy to find in the United States these days. Sargon wants to know, do I take any post-run mineral supplements for hydration or just plain water? I like things like Noon, the things that are no sugar, but basically salt, potassium, and maybe some magnesium in it. Some people like to eat bananas. I think that will also probably be better, but I really don't like bananas. So especially during the summer where I'm sweating a lot more, I'll try to make an effort. Once I switch after the morning and afternoon coffee, then all the drinks after that are usually water or some sort of like rehydration and electrolyte drink, but not necessarily a sugary one. Sometimes a sugary one, but not always. All right. Frank wants to know, is Boston actually going to happen in April? That's a great question. I'm very concerned about Tokyo. Because I actually get to go to Tokyo. Boston, like if Boston doesn't happen, then I don't get to film something, which is a big bummer. But it's not like I have a bib. I have a big for Tokyo's, and I feel like that's a more precarious situation, I think, and sooner. So I don't know. I think we're gonna know a lot in the next month. But I think that the events that are scheduled for like December and January that are canceling, I think it's good that they're canceling. I think that there's going to be a lot of events that don't cancel, and I have a feeling some of that will surprise me and some of that won't. But I mean, I think that especially in the areas where they're seeing just really big upticks, like in New York, makes a lot of sense. And hopefully that will make it so that way we lose a couple things now, we protect more things later. And by things, I mean, first, people. We want to protect people both now and later, but also by not having these events, maybe it makes it so that way the spread isn't as bad. So my answer is hopefully. I don't know actually anything about it though. I think Boston is going to start requiring proof of vaccination to eat inside or something like that. Kind of like what they do already in New York, starting January 15th. They're starting that in Chicago soon. I think January 1st is when they start it. So, more preventative measures are coming, which I have no problem with. I feel like we should have been doing that a long time ago, but hopefully that means we could still get to have some more things again. Because can you imagine if, like, I mean, let's play this out and, like, we get a repeat of what's already happened. Does Shalane Flanagan have to run 6 marathons in 7 weekends again? Like, that'd be, I mean, I don't know, that'd be a really sad repeat performance on a couple of levels, It'd be great to see because she's a great runner and it's always amazing to watch her run, but, I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. Diaz Ray says, "What's the worst shoe of 2021?" I'm not sure. I don't think that I ran in anything that was like, this is ridiculous. Trying to think, what didn't I like? I don't even know if it was 2021 that I ran in it. The shoe that I think I got along with the least was the Torin Plush 4.5. Was that 2020? I don't know. I don't know if that was 2020 or 2021. I think it was 2020 maybe. So I'm not sure. I haven't run into a really bad shoe in a long time. So I feel very good about that. And maybe you guys can jog my memory. Jonathan Crossy says, "Do you know what the drop of the new Reebok plated shoe is going to be?" I don't remember. Oh, okay. Here's a question. I'm sorry. I saw it earlier. I didn't get to it. Benyam Testify says, "Planning to run a 10K soon. What do you think you could run?" I don't have any 10Ks on the calendar yet. I don't know if I will in the next couple of months, maybe. I do have a half marathon coming up that is currently scheduled to do end of January. Right now, I don't think I can run a 10K very fast because my legs are still in like a recovery mode from CIM a couple weeks ago. I guess a few weeks ago now. But I think that, like, if I had a 10K in like 2-3 weeks, I think maybe I can run like, mid 40, like 40 and 30 seconds or so. I don't think I could break 40 right now. Maybe I could, but my legs feel pretty gummy. I've also been doing a lot of trail running and hills, which I normally don't do the past 3 or 4 days. So my legs are very, very tired. I'm just starting to ramp up intensity and distance to get ready for Tokyo. So I'm thinking, right now is not a great time to ask, or like it's always a great time to ask. It's fine to ask always, but not a great time to test that. But I think going into like my last marathon, for example, at CIM, I think I could have broken 40 minutes pretty easily. Whether my body's in a position to do that now, I would say probably not. But that's kind of around where I am. Ed Chan said, "Worst shoe of 2021 was the Nike Air Omicron. Good trainer, but what were they thinking with the name and branding?" Well, I guess it depends on when that came out, right? So I don't know. It's like Corona, the beer. A lot of brands have had some difficult situations that they've come across. I mean, yeah. So like, I don't think that like, brands aren't coming to me with stuff like the Joyride. I mean, not that anyone came to me and asked me to run in the Joyride, but like, no one's really asked me to run in anything like that. So like that would be one. But I think that was a 2019 shoe, I think. Anyway, so like, there's shoes that are like that are kind of like unusual. I'm not sure what they were really doing with it, but I didn't try the Air Omicron. All right. Stevie76 says, "Why did the banana go out with the prune?" Because he couldn't find a date. I need my soundboard. I need a little rim shot for that one. But I do like that one. That's a joke that I like. I like that joke. I don't know if I could tell it. I don't think they would get it. They'd be like, "What's the date?" You mean like going out on a date? I'm like, "No, the date like the fruit." They'd be like, "What?" I don't get it. I think that would go right by my kids. I don't think they would get that one, but I do like it. Scott says, "You don't like bananas and do like beets. I don't know how we can be friends." I don't know. We'd have to be careful to not eat any of those foods around each other. I think, Scott, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be okay. Let's see. Thomas thinks he feels confident in the spring and summer races will happen in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, just like in 2020, a lot of places still had races. Whether that was prudent or not, they still had them. And so I think there'll still be some, whether we have all the ones whether we have like the bigger ones will be interesting. But I am not by summer. I mean, it's hard to say. So much changed in like the last like 5 days. So I mean, I'm having a hard time envisioning what this summer and spring are going to look like. Angie Stone McDonald says, "Have you tried the Whoop 4.0? If so, thoughts?" I haven't tried the Whoop 4.0. I think I tried the Whoop 3. I'm not. I think they meant. I think that they changed the algorithm a little bit in terms of the recovery score. I mean, the underlying metrics that they collect are still the same. I think the most important one being heart rate variability at night and heart rate variability and beat to beat interval. I think are the two main metrics that they record at night. In addition to like figuring out like when you're in deep sleep, light sleep, that kind of thing, and then tracking your heart rate throughout the day. But I think that kind of like how they calculate their recovery score is a little bit different, but I don't have a deep sense of what those changes are. I already have like a variety of watches that record that kind of data, and so I just look at that data. So I know like what are my normal numbers. I just heard some words. I just look at what are my normal numbers for heart rate variability and beat to beat interval for my heart rate and for my heartbeats at night and like my respiratory rate. And if it's like higher than usual, then I know like, oh, my body's still feeling it. It's working hard overnight. It's like, I think of it as like my body is working hard to repair itself overnight. And so it feels like it's so it's like the engine is still revving a little bit more than it normally does. And if the numbers are around normal, then I know like, all right, I'm good to go, at least from, my nervous system and what it thinks and what the body thinks it needs to do to repair itself. So I kind of use those numbers as a general guide in terms of my recovery. The main problem that I had with the Whoop generally though is that I want to like I think, and it's easily solvable. I just never solved the problem that way. Is like wrist-based heart rate never works well for me. And so when I was working out, it thought that I was running at max heart rate for like an hour a day, 7 days a week. And it was like, "You're tired." I'm like, "Well, you thought I ran at max heart rate for an hour. So of course you think I'm tired." And that could be adjusted because they sell longer bands that you could put it up on your arm. And that's usually a successful location for me. So I think that those are kind of my general thoughts on it. I think the information it gives you is pretty good, and it does a good job of teaching you what heart rate variability means and what beat to beat interval means and respiratory rate. So it helps you like learn about what the underlying metrics is, but I don't really like the recovery score all that much. All right. Alex Fearing says, "As a daily trainer, should I get the Peg Turbo 2 or the Peg 38? I will say that I don't really think of the Peg Turbo 2 as a daily trainer. I know a lot of people did use it that way, especially in Chicago. I saw them everywhere. I still see them out around a lot. People are using them as their daily trainers. But I'm not a huge fan of the Peg 38. I bought 2 different pairs of the Peg 38 just to make sure I didn't get a bad pair. And I just didn't like it. And so I would pick the Peg Turbo 2 over the Peg 38. But it's been a couple of years since that's been out now. So now at this point, you're wondering like, where has this shoe been for the past couple of years? Has it been stored like well, or has it been like kind of in a warehouse that's not heated or air conditioned? So then like that can affect some of the foams and stuff. So yeah. So that would be the only thing I'll be a little bit worried about. But other than that, like if I'm putting those two shoes head to head, I'll pick the Peg Turbo 2. I'm really hoping the rumors are true that we're getting another Peg Turbo next year. Run Bike Run says, "Nice haircut. For some reason, I think the wife is behind this butchering." No, I paid for this haircut. There was a little bit of a language barrier, and I think I have the same exact haircut as the barber, but and it's not exactly what I wanted, but it's just hair. It'll grow back. And Don Chad Cantwell says, "Do you follow Formula One?" I don't anymore. Before I met my wife, I used to watch it a lot. Not that she made me stop, but I had a lot more free time on Saturday and Sunday mornings to watch. And I used to, it was my laying down on the couch and recovering from the evening before kind of favorite viewing. But, I think after like once like Michael Schumacher retired, then the sport just got a lot less interesting to me. I don't know. And then also at the same time, I met my wife. So those two kind of things, like, I had to make a little bit more of a concerted effort, and the sport wasn't, it lost, a legend in terms of someone had retired. So that's about when I stopped watching. But like, when I was watching, it was like Schumacher, Mika Räikkönen, they were doing really well. So they were, have I said those names right? I'm not sure anymore. It's been a long time since I've thought about those names, but yeah, I think the sport is great. I really enjoy the sport. But I don't really watch much of any sports anymore. I watch some track and marathons, but this week I watched like, I think maybe 10 minutes of football because it was on, and my father-in-law watches, my brother-in-law watches, and he was over a couple nights. And I think watching like 10 minutes of football was the most sports I've watched that's not running in all of 2021. Trying to think. I mean, I watched the Olympics, but like, in terms of other like pro sports. Yeah. All right. Remy says, what's going on, Remy? Says, very concerned about the half Ironman, especially knowing their track record for canceling at the last minute. I know. I mean, that's a company that's kind of known for burning people. Yeah. But Remy's been doing some crazy cross training. Every day he's doing a very different sport. It's amazing. It's good to see. I hope you're having a lot of fun. I'm certainly a big fan of trying and doing different sport. I'm guessing you haven't tried. I mean, I'm sure from what I saw that today wasn't your first time ice skating, but it's cool to see people out there doing different things. I love it. But yeah, I don't know when your half Ironman is, Remy. Is it wait, are you doing the Boston one again? No, I'm trying to think. I don't think I know when it is, but yeah, the Ironman company can sometimes be not great in that way. Hopefully it works out. Luis Gallardo says, going to the Chicago Marathon next year, do you guys think getting a car is worth it or just use public transit? Hotels are crazy expensive. I think it depends on where you're going to be. I'm going to say most likely getting a car is not worth it. I would say Uber lots of places. Ubers and taxis get expensive, but I think anywhere you're going to take a car that weekend, you're going to have to park it somewhere. And so that's going to be an additional fee. And for example, like parking at the expo, is you saw there's quite a bit of a walk from where you park to where you get to the expo. If you Uber or take a taxi, they drop you off like right up front. If you take public transportation, it's a little bit of a walk, but that's probably the cheapest way to get around. But yeah, like everywhere you're gonna go, you're gonna have to park in a ramp or a garage somewhere, and that's gonna probably cost you about as much, if not more, than the cost of the car rental per day. So, I mean, I guess depending on the car, but but if you're going to be getting a hotel like out by the airport, then you want to get a car. But if you're getting get a hotel that's kind of closer to downtown and closer to the race and all the events in it that are happening and everything, then I'd say use either public transit. You can get a daily pass. And you could get a couple of daily passes or like preload a card with some cash on it. Or you could take taxis and Ubers. Matt says, this is how far back I am on the chat. And Matt says, if you're going to go like 40 minutes and 30 seconds, you might as well die trying to bring 40. Yeah. It doesn't mean I'll get it. That's what I'm saying. I think I could die trying to get 40 and then end up at 40, 30, for a 10K. Yeah. Oh, okay. Chen was kidding about the Air Omicron. That is a bad one. That was a good joke. You got me. I thought there was one. And Lauren Terre Haute. It's hot, right? Like Terre Haute? No, Lauren the Haute. Any hints regarding the Noblesse 3, when it will release and how's it different? I have not heard anything about it. I'm trying to think. First I had to think if they told me anything that I'm not allowed to say, because I have some kind of information about that. But I don't think I've seen the Noblesse 3, so I don't have information yet. I'm trying to think. No, I don't have any, unfortunately. Benyam Tesfai says, any recommendations for treadmills? Peloton or Assault. I don't own a treadmill, so I don't really know. Right now, I feel like the Nordic Track one is the one that you could do the crazy incline on, is the one that I would probably look at first, or any Nordic Track one. Here's why I would like to do the incline one. I don't know if you just saw Ginger Runner put out a video, if you're interested in like trail running and getting elevation gain, where you can do the virtual Tiger Claw in it, and it changes like the elevation for you as you're doing that, which I think is pretty cool. Plus, if you're doing like Nordic Track, you could do iFit, and then you can do like runs with Tommy Ribs and Sally McRae. So like that's all pretty cool too. I think you can do those things with other Nordic Track treadmills as well that don't have the crazy, like, what is it, like 20% incline or something ridiculous, and like -6 or 7% decline. It's bonkers. But that's one that I'd probably look at as a big giant touchscreen. So it looks pretty nice. I don't know how much it is or anything else about it other than that's probably where I would start looking. But the Woodway ones I also really like. I run on a couple of those. Woodway makes the ones that are regular treadmills, and they also make ones that are like that curved kind. I think they make the curved kind too, like the Assault treadmills. I think those are weird. Maybe I just need to get over it or what, but I do like the Woodway regular ones. Those I think are just a really great running experience. I just enjoy running on those. They can go really fast if you need to do, strides or intervals on the treadmill, and they change speeds relatively quickly. So I think it's pretty responsive in terms of changes. All right, let me scroll further down. Sorry about that, guys. All right, Lauren the Hote says, Hote rhymes with goat, but you got my vote. Nice. I like what you did there. Brendan says, for treadmills, I have a Horizon Fitness 7.1 AT, and it's a beauty for the price. Well, there you go. I would probably go with, I would say, like, if you're gonna weight like WEIGHT, like a recommendation, I'd say a recommendation from a Canadian runner is gonna be a pretty good one, because I feel like they have to deal with a lot more snow, a lot more cold temperatures, a lot of tougher conditions, and so like they probably know their treadmills really well. That's kind of where I would lean. All right. Stevie76 says, get a treadmill in the shape of a hamster wheel. I think that'd be amazing. I'm surprised that we haven't seen anyone do that yet, like with like the Assault treadmills, and try to like make it look like you're running on a hamster wheel. I just think that'd be really fun. I'm trying to think though. I feel like I've seen like one of like the prank YouTubers like make those, before. And then like when you fall, you spin around a little bit. I'm trying to think, when have I seen that before? But I don't think people use it like seriously for running, but I think people have made those before. Rodrigo Garnica Crespo says, hi Kofuzi, I'm running a 7.3 triathlon, bought the ASICS Minute Sky. In the triathlon, I run slow, like 5:30 per kilometer. Do you think the shoe will help, or just use No Blast that is comfy? I think it's certainly going to help you at that pace as well. For the half marathon distance that you're going to be running is that 70.3. I think that I would still want to have the Metaspeed Sky, just because I think that it's really well suited to the half marathon. And I really focus for these kinds of shoes on your effort rather than your like straight up pace. And so if you're giving out a half marathon effort, adjusted for the fact that you'll have done like a mile and a quarter, 1.2 mile swim, and however long the bike is, it's like 50 or 60 miles. And then doing a half marathon, you're still doing a half marathon effort. So I think that the Metaspeed Sky is going to be a great choice. But if you're really worried about having something that's a little bit extra comfy, like I was for my first triathlon, where I used the Carbon X2, then I think going with something that you think is going to be a little bit more comfortable is a great choice. And the Nova Blast is certainly one that I think can still move quickly while giving that comfort. So I think that both are very good options. I would lean towards the Metaspeed Sky. Ines says, for this treadmill, he bought a Techno Gym My Run. It's a great machine and works so well with the app on the iPad. Oh, there we go. So there's another option for you guys. Awesome. Love that. Melvin says, I heard the Horizons. Am I reading that right? The Horizons are amazing. Horizons, yeah, that's what I thought. Horizons are amazing. I'm contemplating this Horizon 7.8 AT, but there's a bit of a wait for it. Are we still there? Is there still like a wait on like treadmills and spin bikes and all that kind of exercise equipment? I haven't looked for any of that kind of stuff in a long time. I'm assuming that there still is. Interesting. All right. I think that's going to be a pretty good place to leave it for today, guys. Oh, wait, let's do that. Let's do this one because we're talking about that Tiger Claw. Kurt says, I have that Nordic Track one. I got the smaller touchscreen one. I wonder if you get the virtual Tiger Claw up front to train. Any chance you'll do Tiger Claw? I was looking at the calendar yesterday. This year, I think it was like the week before Chicago Marathon, or maybe 2 weeks before. And I was like, I can't do that. I think it's not going to be in October again, right? So if it's not going to be October again, I think that I might be able to do it. I was looking at it yesterday. I don't remember what the dates are. But it's an event I would like to do, but I think here's how far I got. I was like, ooh, Tiger Claw, looking at like the dates on my phone or looking it up on the phone, going to the website. And like the first thing it says is like, this shouldn't be your first trail race. This is rigorous, or something along those lines. And I'm like, well, I run more than one trail race, but am I ready for this? I don't know. I really don't know. But you know what? I could do a lot of power hiking. I think that'll still be fun. So we'll have to check the dates, see if it'll work. I would love to be able to go out there and do that race. I like the format of it. I think it sounds fun. And it's all it's in a contained area. So if I get lost, I won't get too lost. I guess, I never say never. That one guy got lost on 3.47 mile loops. But it's one that I'm very interested in doing. Cause I'd like to see like how gnarly some of that terrain is. It sounds painful in a lot of respects, but I think I think I'd be very interested in that challenge. So, I'll have to double check on the dates. Maybe we can get that to work. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it for today. Tomorrow's going to be happy hour. And I think tomorrow's probably going to be the last live stream for the week, Friday being Christmas Eve. So we'll do tomorrow's the last live stream for the week. We'll do happy hour. We'll get some recovery beverages, do something nice. And then we'll hang out for the last time before the holiday. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.